and that is Brendan Gallagher has re-signed with the Montreal Canadiens. It's a 6-year deal. The AAV is $6.5 million, and this right after his agent came out and said, "No, sorry. This came out and said that negotiations had broken apart." Now, for those of you who don't know, it's funny that most of the time when you see stuff released about the Habs themselves break it. Because they share that with Toronto and like the Islanders, that stuff doesn't get leaked.
Yeah.
So it was wild that it wasn't. I really believe it that it was a negotiation tactic by Gallagher's camp, and right away, all of a
Yeah.
sudden they finish it up. Gallagher's got a video saying, "I'm so happy to be back," and it's back with Montreal. We'll talk about Toffoli and Jake Allen in a second here. We're really just Tyler Toffoli, guys. But the Habs, heart and soul of the team, their longest serving skater, and in this re-sign. I'll start with you, Alex. How do you like it? How do you like the deal? Brendan Gallagher.
I do like the deal. Like, I'm not gonna bash the deal. I think 6.5 for 6 years, for someone of his quality, I think is a very fair deal. Actually, I think maybe not in the pandemic free agency market. I think in a regular market, he would have definitely fetched a bit more than that. I could imagine he would in the market get upwards of $7 million. But the reason I'm questioning this deal is how it sets up the future of the team. Because you just signed to Foley, who we'll get to, can play left and right wing. You still have Josh Anderson, who you just signed, who plays an extremely similar game to Brendan Gallagher. You still have Jonathan Drouin. You still have Suzuki and Kotkaniemi, who are coming up as well. Plus, you have Caulfield, who's going to be in Montreal eventually. So at some point in the future, you're going to have someone making upwards of $4 million on the third line, which is a great problem to have. And I think by that time, the NHL economy will is going to figure itself out. It's not like it's going to be a cap dump for a third round pick or whatever. It's just, are you committed? It seems like you're very committed to this whole thing. And I feel like you're going to have to make moves to work around that.
Daniel.
Yeah, I didn't know. I just saw the breakdown now that it was reported by Pierre LeBrun, but it was apparently the source is Chris Johnson. That I didn't know in like 2024, 25. That's when I guess they gave Gallagher those money years. Well, he's getting $8 million and then $9 million for that term, and I kind of agree that in the open market for a player that he's become, that north of 7 million was going to be something that they had to kind of deal with. And I understand that what Alex said about the whole thing about these, the amount of money of what Montreal has spent the last few days has been pretty astounding to me. And it's something where I talked about before, where we asked you, Adam, where do you feel the Habs are going to be? What are they? And I think now they're fully into the idea that, they could compete. They could be a team that, is not really on the rise anymore, because they're getting a lot of guys in their prime that know how to play. They know how to kind of, know their niche on the team already. And what I kind of think is the way that center depth is developing, it's just something that it's an amazing mix of vets, core guys who are coming in, they want to win. They've been good locker room guys in the past. And then they have those young guys here and there who are just keep on building. What I liked about this were they were able to build a lot of depth and a lot more talent on this team. And, they didn't have to go all in. They didn't have to sacrifice prospects. They didn't have to sacrifice draft picks. And for what the price point they got on these guys, I think it's pretty amazing. The Tyler Toffoli one, I thought he was getting $6 million a year by Vancouver.
Man, we'll talk about Vancouver losing. Yeah, honestly, again, I've said on this times, I started watching hockey in 2014. This is easily probably the best Habs team on paper that I have ever seen. Your right of your offense consists of Anderson, Gallagher, Toffoli, and Yoel Armia is on the fourth line.
Right.
And then the left side is a mix of Tatar, Drouin, Kinnan, and then Paul Byron, who is a bit overpaid and he needs to get traded pretty soon. But him on your fourth line, him and
Not
Armia
bad.
are both guys that are capable of 20 goals. And then Leonard,
Right.
I love that fourth line. I don't know
What
why.
was really-
Something. Oh, go on. Just something about the quality of that fourth
you know what?
line.
It's cutting in and out
It could end up being like, is it? My God,
a little bit.
a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Every once in a while,
Jesus
or it's
Christ.
just me. I don't know if
Oh,
it's
sorry. I thought I was interrupting too much.
no,
thought it
no,
was a
Dan.
pause.
But do you hear? Is it just me?
I thought Adam was I thought he was stopping purposely, but yeah, I could hear
okay.
it too. Yeah,
Okay.
where like I could see your lips move, but I don't hear anything.
That's fine.
Yeah.
I can add something as Adam's trying to figure it out. Unless Daniel, you had something to say.
All I kind of just said was like the quality of that fourth line,
Right.
Paul Byron and Yoel Armia.
And then whoever
You know,
is the center.
Yeah, it I think it's arguably better than and cheaper than what the Islanders are fielding right now with that fourth line.
Don't talk bad about them, okay? You're not allowed.
All right.
The Lou
Is
Bob.
that sounding any better?
Yeah, it's not the sound. It was just cutting. It cuts in and out. I can't predict it. It just kind of happens.
Okay. Well,
If it
I
gets
do
bad,
not
I'll
know
bring
what
it
to
up.
do.
That's okay. If it gets bad, I'll
Okay.
bring it up.
Yeah. You know, I had a quick sort of
Oh,
just
there
cut
we
out.
go.
Didn't.
Yeah.
All
Okay.
right.
I'll go. I'll talk quickly.
I'm just gonna use my max mic. Whatever.
Yeah.
I
No
can't.
worries.
All right. So what I quickly put together myself was like, you know, the fourth line center for this team is probably going to be Jake Evans, and the fourth line, yeah, could be Armia or Byron down there, or hell, you can put Lehkonen down there. I mean, if you want to move up Byron for the speed and that. But quickly going to Toffoli, yeah, he also this came out of nowhere. I dropped something. I'm sorry. I think I told this to Alex and Mike, but I didn't say this to you, Daniel. I can say this on the show. Hopefully, my brother's girlfriend is not listening to this. If you are, Janine, turn it off. My brother, when the Toffoli signing happened, was announced, he was on the phone with us because he was asking for the blessing to propose to his girlfriend from her parents, and why he's telling us about everything, like how they had said yes. I opened Twitter by mistake and I saw the Toffoli signing, and I got in
By
a bit
mistake.
of trouble because I was so excited about it. Meanwhile, my brother is just being like, "Oh yeah, I can propose to my girlfriend."
Yeah. By mistake.
He signs
by
for 4
mistake.
years, 4.25 a year. He signs for.
They said my brother plans in 4 years. I'm like, okay,
What?
two different stories going on there.
Yeah. Sorry. So, yes, Tyler Toffoli signs with the Montreal Canadiens. They needed scoring. Josh Anderson was not enough, but they get Tyler Toffoli, who has scored between either 20 or 31 goals once. The only time he has it was either shortened season because of injury or whatever, or because he had to play on the LA Kings and they were garbage for a season. So this has been another addition to the right side of the Canadiens. Your guys is sort of feeling on Toffoli. Big name.
Yeah.
Scorer.
28. Again, middle loaded contract. I think he fits what the team needs, right? He adds that needed depth that we've talked about for a while. He does have that scoring touch if they need it. Now, I don't know if you did your own line projections, right? Am I Adam?
Yeah, you're cutting out. You're cutting out, Alex.
Oh, am I cutting out? Okay, give me a second. I'm gonna pause it. I'm gonna try something. 2, 1. Sorry, I cut out, and it's a great night for technical problems
difficulties.
apparently. Yeah, like
Spooky
I was
night.
saying, I was saying before, it's a really good pickup for the Canadians. I think he brings the grit and he brings a scoring touch, which I think both are what the team kind of need. I had daily face off. I went on daily face off. They had Toffoli next to Suzuki and Anderson on the second line. So my understanding is Toffoli can play both the left and the right, which I guess is good for them. I don't exactly know what Adam you were thinking, where Toffoli would slot in the lineup.
I actually had him on the second line with Suzuki and Druin, and I moved Anderson down with Kotkaniemi.
Right.
But I mean, I think you can go with any combination.
Yeah. So I mean, just based on these two signings alone, the first thought that came to my mind, and it really came to my mind when you texted me that Gallagher re-signed or sent a Twitter message, whatever you did. In my mind, this re-signing, Tatar's not coming back, and I think we kind of knew that before. And I don't think Deneau's coming back either.
Really? Why not Phil Deneau?
Well, first off, apparently he wasn't happy with the minutes, right?
Right. Okay.
Or is that
he's gonna
changed?
be back on the top line to start the season. That was just,
okay, right, but
yeah,
that happened, right? Let's be
but
clear.
Six
understand.
games of a playoff round
I
isn't gonna
understand.
affect that.
I understand. But now
Yeah.
they're still gonna have 48 or 60, whatever, 2 games. You're gonna how long? What we've had the discussions. What is Philip Deneau gonna make on his next contract?
6.5.
No,
He's
Wow.
a center.
no. If
Okay,
Radek Faxa only got 3.5, then
I don't know.
So how much
Faxer's
does he? So how
interesting.
much he makes $3 million now? What does Phil Deneau make on his next contract?
I'm saying, what did Pajot sign for? 5?
5.
5? Around
Yeah.
there.
So we're assuming within the next year or two, Philip Deneau is going to be your third line center, right? Suzuki and Kotkaniemi are going to be your first, second line centers. You can't have a third, and New York's going to figure this out eventually. You can't have a $5 million player as your third line center.
What's really funny is before this podcast, we were having this discussion, and I thought we were going to talk about this later because I was not ready for this. And now I am in the middle of doing. Listen, is it? I don't know.
I'm not saying
I mean,
you trade him.
have to. No, God, no.
Right?
You do not do that.
But I think you can. I think, and I saw it happen in Toronto that both Lou and Dubas got crapped on for letting JVR, for letting Bozak, and a couple other guys walk right to free agency.
Komarov.
No questions asked. Komarov, right.
Yeah.
But you have to think about it for the future. In this case scenario, you're not going to pay Philip Deneau $5 million on a longer term contract when you know in a year or two he's going to be a third line center. So I think we knew Tatar was gone, right? We've had that discussion before.
Yes.
I think a couple episodes
Reclamation
ago.
prize from the Vegas Golden Knights.
Right. And I think
yeah.
great what he did in Montreal and great what Montreal did for him. But if you know you're going to be a third line, he's going to be your third line center. I can't imagine any world where your goalie's making 10.5 and other things considered, other guys have to get paid eventually, right? I don't think it's viable to on any team. This isn't Montreal specific. This is Toronto, Anaheim, the Rangers, the Islanders, whoever. Your third line center should not be making $5 million.
I know
Unless
he's not. Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead, Daniel.
I know he's not there, but I just thought Brandon Sutter.
Don't. Gallagher is better than Brandon. I mean,
I don't know. Just the comparable in terms of the money.
I think one thing, if it does happen, if they do end up going with that decision, if they're to make it work, Jonathan Drouin's gone. Even that, I think this could be his last season if he doesn't fully prove it. We can touch on it quickly. The Canadiens, you need a second goalie, obviously, exposed for the expansion draft that is happening next season with the Seattle, as in, sorry, 2021,
Yeah.
2022. Got it all mixed up. And before that, the Canadiens have extended Jake Allen. No one thought this is going to come to a 2-year deal. He gets 2.875 per season. Daniel, I mean, shit, I swore I got to. Hopefully, the poor mic quality didn't pick that up. But Alex, I'll start with you here. Allen, 2 years. He has not played a game, as you rightfully pointed out earlier, for the Montreal Canadiens, but they have gone with this extension.
I understand why they did it, but I don't necessarily understand why they did it. Yeah, right. Like I point out, he hasn't played a game. And, yes, last year he was really good. The year before that, he was okay. Like that's why Binnington ended up becoming Binnington, because Jake Allen wasn't good. And I'm not saying that's what's going to be the case next year. I literally have no idea what to expect from Jake Allen next year. That's why I'm a bit weary of the contract. And I know you can go out and you can trade it. And obviously in this case, I think if you get pennies on the dollar for him, it really doesn't matter. Which you're going to get pennies on the dollar for him. Just even if next season Seattle doesn't take him and you want to trade him, Primo's ready, you're going to get pennies. It's just the current market we live in. Ryan Murray went for a 5th round pick. Marcus Nuivar went for Cliff Poo, who I haven't heard from since he got traded for Jeff Skinner. Right. So I understand why they did it. I don't necessarily agree with it. I think you're muted.
Whoops. Daniel, we do know Cade Primo was the goalie for the Americans in the World Juniors. Yeah. So another part of the deal, obviously, is if he doesn't get claimed, Jake Allen, by Seattle, that maybe Allen could be used to, like, just because, of course, Primo's only 21, then you over-ripen him as a goalie.
Yeah, I think that's probably the perfect situation for them to do it. I don't think that in what they have right now or what they would want to do with their prospects, they wouldn't want to rush Caden Primo. I know he's played already a few games here and there, but what I kind of felt with the Jake Allen signing was I think it just, what his character is, it kind of just speaks volume of how this deal went down, like what everyone kind of talked about, where, the rumblings in the St. Louis locker room, they didn't really like that he got traded, that he was a high character guy. He was someone that, once he lost the starting position, he was like fully on supporting Jordan Binnington throughout their Stanley Cup run. And what I feel now, what they get with Jake Allen is he's in a situation where it's just perfectly catered to him. As much as I like the guy, he's not a starter. He's not someone that the Blues, I don't think, could have won with, like, I know he had like the odd playoff games here and there this year, but for what he's probably going to be capped at, where he's probably going to play like 30 or more games, that's just something perfect for him. And for where his age is and for the cap that they got, I think that, finally they got something that is going to really help Carey Price through these next few years. That it's something that it just speaks stability. What we talked about before with the wingers, with the defensemen they've been bringing in, it just speaks volumes to, like, this is a team that's more balanced. Like, there's not a lot of glaring holes on this team anymore. Like, I may argue that, maybe not right now, they don't have a true superstar offensively, but it doesn't really matter for me at this point because of the quality that's just already there.